I told you we were heating up. Now we're on fire.
Bang! Bang!
Back-to-back winning weeks. And now our biggest card of the season. Buckle up. Roll tape. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Uncle Dan's Best Bets here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Before we get started, we always got to do the housekeeping. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it as always as the channel continues to grow. And before I get to brag about some picks, let's also give a shout out to our sponsor, Bob Johnson Auto Group. If you need to buy, lease, trade, sell, anything, go tell him Bob Johnson sent you. Proud sponsor of Uncle Dan's Best Bets. My wife and I both lease with Daryl. We drive GMC Terrains. We work with him out in Leroy. Go to Bob Johnson. Tell him that Uncle Dan sent you. Now, with that being said, let's get to it. Let's celebrate. How about that? 5-2 week. I told you I was heating up. And now, like NBA Jam style, we are on fire, my friends. The last 3 weeks, back-to-back winning weeks. We are 14-7 over those last 3 weeks. Now on the season, 31-25-2. And I got a bone to pick with you, Antonio Pierce. I got a bone to pick with you because that was criminal. And I think the NFL should investigate that. We would have been 6-1, but Antonio Pierce, the Raiders were down 8. We had the Rams -6.5. The Raiders were down 8 on 4th and goal from the 7 with 2.5 minutes to go, and they kicked a field goal. Criminal. But I digress because it was still a great week. It was still 5-2. The whole look, don't think, just throw, it worked out. We followed Nuke LaLoosh. This week, I got more. And while I always say you're only as good as your last week, this is a little bit of a heat check. I said we're on fire. Here's a heat check for you. Not 1, not 2, not 6, not 7, not 9. How about a dozen? Yeah, I got a dozen plays this week. The biggest card of the season so far. We're not going to overthink it too much. We're going to take 1 or 2 stats from each game, something we really like, and we're going to go with it. A dozen. And we're going to go quickly because there are so many picks. We will start out first with the Titans-Lions under 45. Shout out to my boy Ian Gallagher and his young son Graham. They reminded me he's done well, and it's something that we have talked about on this channel before. The Lions are favored by 11.5 points. When spreads get above 9.5, it is a good idea to take the under. Over the last 2 decades, it's a trend. I've talked about it on this channel before, previous seasons. I don't know why I haven't been doing it. Ian said he's been doing really well on it, so we're going to go to it. You bet the under in games that are the spread is over 9.5. That's because either the logic is one team runs away, they win 40-0, or it's a close game, low scoring game because the underdog is keeping things close. A lot of times points stop towards the end of the game. It's hitting something like, I know I talked about it last year. I couldn't find the exact stat. It's like hitting like 70% to the under over the last 20 years. When games have spreads over 9.5, the under is hitting at like 68 to 70%. So we will take the under in that game with the Titans-Lions because the Lions are favored by 11.5 points. Titans offense stinks. And maybe the Lions will kind of ease up a little bit, look ahead, because I think they got a big game with the Packers next week. I like the Browns team total over 17.5 to do something they haven't done at all this year, to score more than 17 points. Because I believe in Jameis Winston. I believe he is one of the 32 best quarterbacks on this planet. He should have been starting a long time ago. And while I know it was an injury, I think there is a Jameis bump to this spot. So they're playing the Ravens. Ravens defense is good. They can give up big plays. I think even Nick Chubb getting back to another healthier week and the bump from Jameis, I think the Browns will score 20 points. So they're at home. I think there will be energy and juice and bump with Jameis. The fact that it's not Deshaun Watson, I like this spot for the Browns. I believe in Jameis. I believe they'll score 20 points. So if you go on DraftKings right now, this is, I think, plus 102. So we will take that. Don't think just throw game here. Packers -4 against the Jags. Jags played 2 weeks overseas in London. They come back. They won a game. That does not mean they are good. What it means is they played the Patriots. So don't all of a sudden think that the Jags are some sneaky good team. I don't think that's the case. The Packers are a better team. Don't think, just throw. This may be the square play of the week. That's fine. We will take this one. We are not going to overthink it. Packers -4. Next game, that's just 3. Buckle up. We're not even halfway done. Dolphins -3.5 at home against Arizona. Tua is back. Say what you want about Tua. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback or anything like that. I do believe he's a right quarterback for that offense. That I don't think can be disputed. And Arizona, we were on the right side of Arizona on Monday night. That was the big win. Arizona is 0-11 after their last 11 wins. They haven't won 2 games in a row in a long, long time. They're coming off a win, so we fade them. Dolphins -3.5 at home. Believe in Tua, and we're fading Arizona off of a win. Speaking of that Arizona game, I like the Chargers team total over 24.5 at home against the Saints. 2 reasons why. 1, the Chargers kicked, was it 5 or 6 field goals last week against Arizona? They can move the ball. They can't be that bad in the red zone for another week. They can move the ball. I liked what the Chargers did offensively, but it just thinks like you will eventually figure things out and get in the end zone. So I think they'll get back in the end zone against a really, really bad Saints team. How bad of a Saints team are they, Dan? Thanks for asking. The Saints have given up in their last 4 games, 26, 26, 51, and 33. They're on quit alert for their head coach. And as of right now, Dennis Allen, I forgot his name. I was like, Dennis Allen is so fired that I forgot his name. So I think the Chargers find their way in the end zone 3 to 4 times. I like the Chargers team total over because the Saints defense and the team kind of look like they have quit on their coach. So I will take the Chargers team total over 24.5. No Jaden Daniels for the Washington Commanders. Bears coming off a bye. Caleb Williams getting extra rest. I will take the Bears -3. I'm just getting the better quarterback. Marcus Mariota looked fine, but this is another. I'm not overthinking this game. I like the Bears. I like the way they've been playing. They're coming off of a bye, a win in London that we had. I don't think the Commanders are very good, and they don't have. Well, I think their offense is very good. Let me just check that. Offense is good. Jaden Daniels is really good. I don't think Jaden Daniels plays in this game, so it's an educated guess that I'm getting the better quarterback and just have to lay the 3 points. Last game before the Bills and Seahawks, and there is a bunch in that game. I like the Cowboys +4 at the 49ers. Cowboys are coming off a bye. If there's ever a time that they figure this out and Mike McCarthy draws something up offensively, it's here. The Cowboys are also 3-0 on the road so far this season. Niners banged up with injuries, tons of them. Deebo Samuel was in the hospital this week with pneumonia. Ayuk out. It just kind of feels like the snowball's rolling downhill, not in a good way. And on top of it, if you want numbers to back up my pick, the 49ers are 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 home games. It is not this daunting place to necessarily go and play. I like the Cowboys. If there's ever a spot for them to get it right with all of Jerry Jones's talk, it'll be this week. I like the Cowboys plus the points at the 49ers. And finally, the last 5 plays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all in the Bills and Seahawks game. So here we go. First of all, I like the over. I think both of these offenses are getting better and better. And especially for the Seahawks, they're getting Kenneth Walker back, really improves their offense, things like that. I don't believe DK Metcalf is going to play, but I still think they have tons of weapons. And I said it before on the podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I did it with the You Ask, We Answer with Jenna. I think Geno Smith is good. Like, I think he's a top 10 passer, just true passer. I'm not saying a top 10 quarterback when it comes to just throwers of the football. I like Geno. I think we have to get the stink of New York off of him and see what he's done the last few years. Geno Smith leads the NFL in passing yards right now. So you may not think he's great, but factually, he's throwing the ball really well. So I like the over because I think points can go up plenty. Seahawks have injury concerns in their secondary. 2 quarterbacks didn't practice on Wednesday. We'll see how that all shakes out. Nonetheless, I think these games can go back and forth. Bills are averaging around 30 points a game. Seahawks are averaging around 25 points a game. I like points in this one. I think this could be a shootout. I think 27-24, 30-27, high scoring game. So I like the over in the Seattle Bills game. And then I like 4 wide receiver props. I will take all of them. Give them to me. I like Amari Cooper over 53.5 receiving yards. He had 66 last week when he barely knew the offense, and that included a drop. I think they will get him more acclimated, and he'll get more assimilated into this offense. We saw what he can do. Pure tactician. I think he can get 55 yards in this game. But what I love most about Cooper is the fact that he had instantly made everybody else around him better. And I don't understand what the book is doing here because I don't think they've made adjustments yet to what the Bills wide receivers are becoming. So I also want Khalil Shakir. Lather, rinse, repeat. We're not going to change that. His over is 38.5 receiving yards. He has done that in every single game this year outside of the Jets game when he was recovering from his ankle injury. So he's done that in 5 out of the 6 games that he has played this year. We made a ton of money on that last year. It kind of kept us afloat at times. We'll go back to the well again. So Shakir over 38.5. And Keon Coleman, his over is 31.5 on DraftKings. I've already locked that in. He's cleared that in 3 out of his last 4 games, feeling more comfortable. If I have a concern, and I can be honest with you for a minute, it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to be a little windy, but these haven't been deep shots that the Bills have really connected on. These are yards after the catch, which Shakir does well, which is what we've seen out of Coleman, and Cooper just being the route runner. So I like all of their overs. They're just too low for me to pass up in those spots. So Cooper, Shakir, and Coleman, all of their overs. Cooper's 53, Shakir's 38.5, and Coleman is 31.5. And then I will take Noah Fant over 31.5 receiving yards as well from Seattle. I don't believe Terrell Bernard is going to play. He missed both Wednesday and Thursday practices. He's had 63 and 65 receiving yards in his last 2 games. I think that will only go up with DK Beek out. And this is a team, it reminds me a little bit of Baltimore in the sense of when Terrell Bernard was out, they went to Likely and they went to Mark Andrews. There's Balin Spector and Dorian Williams are not going to be the main guys that can shut down Noah Fant for less than 30 yards, in my opinion. So there it is. A dozen plays in this one. I won't run through them again because it's a lot of them. I'll put a full screen up at the end here. Appreciate it as always. If you made it this far, for the real ones, to Basil, to Ian, to those guys that always comment in, to the guy that was been putting all my plays in a parlay, I love you. It's a little crazy. I don't think I've ever had a perfect week, so I take all of these individually. But if you did want to birdcage them and parlay them all together, best of luck to you. But like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite play is for this week. Let's all win some money together. So again, scared money don't make money. We are in a spot. Just because we're 6 games over 500 and playing well doesn't mean we're going to all of a sudden turtle and get scared. No, we're going to empty the clip in this one. We're seeing the ball well. We're not thinking. We are just throwing. It could come back to bite us in the butt. We'll worry about that later. Again, appreciate it. As always, we are NBA Jams on fire. We will look to keep it going. For everybody that has commented in, I really appreciate it as always. Best of luck to you this weekend. Shout out to Bob Johnson Auto Group. Thanks again for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We appreciate it as always. But for now, that'll do it for us for Uncle Dan's Best Bets. Best of luck to your bets this week. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.